YouTube, it's your boy Johnny Finesse. Welcome back to the channel, and today this video interests me, so we're gonna react to it. I ate acid or shrooms every day for 5 months, and here's what happened. If you don't know about drugs or anything stuff like that related, you should know shrooms and acid are like one of the most trippiest things you can eat. So for you to eat that shit for every day for 5 months is gonna be crazy. So I'm trying to see what's gonna happen. I know over time you're probably gonna get so used to the shit, it's just not gonna affect you as much as it does the first time, and that's with any type of drug. But if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. We on the road to 700 subscribers, so I need y'all to hit that sub button. Let's get it going. Let's do our thing, and let's hop into the video.
4 years.
And hit that bell notifications too. Hit the bell notification too, so you don't miss a thing again.
After being prescribed legal speed by my doctor, stuff like Adderall, Vyvanse, Dexedrine, my brain just was not the same. Understandably so. This shit is one molecule away from being crystal meth. That's methamphetamine. When you're taking amphetamine salts, it's no shit that some people are going to experience negative side effects. I got depressed, like really depressed. I lost all zest for life. My memory was that of a goldfish. I felt like I couldn't function without the drugs, let alone barely function on them. I was addicted to masturbation. My family hated me. And I knew that if I continued taking them, I was going to cause even worse irreversible brain damage on top of the already pending brain damage. Suffice to say, I was desperate to find a way to heal my brain. I just wanted to reach the same state that I was at pre-amphetamine use. I mean, is that so much to ask for? Which was when I had the bright idea to heal the damage caused by drugs via taking more drugs. And how is that any different from the actual fucking pharmacies that give you side effects on the drugs, only to prescribe you more drugs for the side effects of those drugs, then more drugs for the side effects of those drugs, and then holy shit, what kind of a loop are we in here? Now, before I get into the details of why I believed a daily dose of psychedelics could heal me, let's first discuss just how fucking stupid this sounds. Let me clear one thing up really quick. The dose always makes the poison. We need water to survive, but too much water will kill you. It's the same with practically everything. So I wasn't crazy enough to believe that tripping hard every day was going to heal my shattered mind. Oh no, I just believed that tripping lightly every day was going to heal my mind. Which brings us to enter the microdose. Studies may actually suggest that consuming small amounts of psychedelics every day may not only boost things like creativity, but also promote neurogenesis. Microdosing may potentially heal damage caused by depression or potentially caused by other drugs. Let me read you a snippet of this article real quick. In a study led by Calvin Lai at the University of California in 2018, the researchers showed that when rat neurons were grown in the lab, adding LSD or DMT to them helped them grow with more branching connections. This could mean that psychedelic compounds may restore areas of the human brain that have been damaged by depression, where the neurons are unhealthy and struggle to form connections. But we need studies in humans to confirm that this is the case. Actually, what's more appealing to me than these studies, which admittedly need more research, is the growing online community of people who state microdosing has helped them with a myriad of problems from depression to PTSD. However, not all these people were taking microdosing almost every day, and not all of them were swapping between substances like me, which made mine potentially more, well, definitely had more risks, but we'll get more into that shortly. Because before even considering taking up daily microdosing, I had to first ditch my daily amphetamine habit. This is obviously a huge undertaking which requires a video in and of itself. So yeah, let's just fast forward over our coverage of that battle for now, and let's land our sights on the start of my daily psychedelic adventure. What were the effects like? Get into a talking voice. Keep it interesting. Be engaging. Explain the effects. Explain what they were like. What were the effects like? Peace out, motherfucker. I don't care. I want to talk to you. Talk to the camera. Talk about the effects. What the effects were like. What were the effects like? How did it make me feel? I can't sing worth a ding, and I can't rhyme.
Stop wasting my time, bro.
Man,
stop wasting my time.
Yo, talk, be exciting, be happy, be engaging, be smart, be positive, be uplifting, be everything that they're not. Relate to them, be shitty, be crappy, be good, be bad, be fake, be genuine, be real, be sad, be scared, be be depressed. Be a good actor. Put on a happy face. Be happy. Honestly, the effects aren't really too intense, and if you are getting intense effects, then it generally means you're taking way too much. It should just be this little subtle, I want to say, boost that you feel. And I also want to say that if you're more sensitive in general, you're going to be privileged to a wider array of effects. For example, I'm a very sensitive person, and I would find myself often taking interest in things that normally I didn't care about. For example, I'd stop in awe at really fascinating looking tree bark. But the biggest effect that I found beneficial, on it sounds terrible, but I felt more inclined to put down whatever I was doing and spend time with my kids and my family. Is it on me? How do I look?
What the hell?
I felt more connected to the things that mattered in my life, and that's huge. It means that we get carried away in our heads and we put higher levels of importance on things that ultimately are going to bring us a lower level of satisfaction, or that on our deathbed we would regret doing, because at the time we might be following some dopamine triggers in our mind and we're just like a rat in a maze chasing that little cocaine release switch, and we're just trying to get high off our own supply. The microdose, kicks in, it comes along and it goes, no man, you don't need this. What you really need is the love. The real question is, why was I dosing daily? Why was I swapping between substances more than the title suggests? And was this ultimately good? Now, the answer to some of these questions lies within which protocol you decide to follow. The OG is Fodderman's, who states you should dose no more than once every 3 to 4 days, and you should only pick one substance. It doesn't matter which one, because they all ultimately have the same effects. Sounds kind of crazy. He also states that taking it more than once every few days is going to raise your tolerance, making subsequent doses less effective, and all of that makes perfect sense. You get tolerance to psychedelics instantly, so why would you take it every fucking day? Which is where the Stamets protocol sees things a little bit differently. Stamets suggests taking psilocybin for up to 5 days in a row and then proceeding to take a 2-day weekend. He also says to take it with lion's mane mushroom and niacin for better bioavailability, so that it causes more, neurogenesis in the mind. I'm not sure the exact reasoning, because that's where I stopped reading. Now, I had tried Fodderman's cautionary way of going about things in the past, years ago, even before trying amphetamines, and it really just didn't do much for me. So, I decided to loosely follow Stamets protocol, the real difference being, instead of just taking mushrooms like he suggests, he is the mushroom hat guy from Joe Rogan, I decided to alternate between compounds, and ultimately I found this to be effective, because when I would say take mushrooms too many days in a row, like say for a week plus in a row, it would lose effectiveness even with those days off. And I found that alternating between compounds, even though there is suggested cross tolerance, it was definitely better than just taking the same one. It would stave off tolerance, and this made the microdosing more effective. The real question is, did it also adhere to making it more dangerous, and did it negate the potential neurogenesis effects that I was primarily doing it for?
What is he talking about? So did it actually hit my brain?
The short answer is I don't know. It's not like I've taken a microscope and biopsied my mind. I really don't know. I just know what I feel. To be real, do I feel better? And the answer is yeah.
So we don't even see him
a lot better.
In the mix of doing it.
I thought you was going to see him in the mix of doing it. I don't believe that it was all thanks to the microdosing. I think it was a conjunction of things that the microdosing played a pivotal role in. But had it not been for these other things that I'm going to touch on now, I feel like the microdosing would have, it might have actually been detrimental, or it might have caused a spike in my anxiety or negative effects. I think it was these other practices combined with the microdosing that really pulled its effectiveness out, and that even made it, tolerable in some instances. And that's what I want to talk about now. There are times when you accidentally microdose too much, and if you're cocky like me, this happens quite often. When the microdose kicks in, it kind of lands you in this in-between, I'm not really tripping, but I almost feel like I might be tripping phase, and that's the most uncomfortable space to be in. It was thanks to being able to just sit down and observe the experience without getting too reactive to it, that allowed it to just kind of wash over me and allowed me to kind of ease in and get through the uncomfortable phase. And that was largely thanks to the daily discipline of meditation. But without that ability, the microdosing would have verged on being way too uncomfortable a lot of the fucking time. That's just the truth of it. And I think that's the number one reason why when I started microdosing years ago, I didn't like it. I didn't have a daily meditation practice, and I didn't necessarily know how to actively calm my mind down. I mean, most people might just say in their head, calm down, calm down, calm down, but that doesn't fucking do shit. That's like telling someone who's sad to just be happy. You can't just tell yourself the feeling you want to feel. You have to come up with the strategy to elicit those feelings, which involves sometimes, well, usually putting in a little bit of work, or coming at a feeling or a situation from a perspective that might be counterintuitive or that you're not used to. And the only way to do that is to get yourself outside of your normal daily thought patterns, and the best way to do that is to step back almost literally and observe all of the thought patterns going on. Meditation can kind of feel like you have this new actual sense, like this new ability to pick and choose what things you want to latch onto, where you want to put your attention. And if you're having a negative microdose experience, you can observe the discomfort. And it's amazing how when you observe and then actively step into it, realize that, hey, I'm feeling this discomfort for a reason. There's probably something here that I need to see, that I need to get an understanding of. And then when you step into it, and I found this was very helpful, was the meditation helped me bring the discomfort and blow it up. And it was once you really direct your attention at those uncomfortable feelings that you give them the permission to be there, which is when they dissipate, sometimes quickly. It's when you're running and trying to push them down and hide from them that they get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like what you resist persists, man. And what you chase will run, and what you run from will chase you. So the best thing to do is to just take that deep breath and jump head first.
I thought we was taking drugs together.
Yeah,
man.
so that was one of the tools just to get back on track here, was microdosing plus daily meditation. Those are the top two things that helped me get on the journey of healing my mind. But that's just two. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with this massive list because it's going to look so daunting. Like if I start telling you everything that I'm doing, it might scare you away from even starting.
Your laptop,
it's very
that shit is
important
annoying me.
that I make it very clear that I started with one thing at a time. So the first thing really wasn't the microdosing, if I'm being honest. I first started doing daily meditation, and that's when I realized I could start incorporating the microdoses. So I went from the discipline to commit to 10 minutes of meditation a day, and then I moved on to the microdosing, and then I moved from there to realizing that I really am what I eat, like in a literal way. And I got a little obsessive, admittedly, with this. I started first calorie counting, then macro tracking, because I wanted to build muscle and lose fat. It was very important that my vessel was clean. Strong body, strong mind. Strong mind, strong body. They work in conjunction. I feel like you can't have one without the other. I faced discomfort. I basically did what I hated doing the most, was jogging, and I did it with a busted up ankle. Was in pain every time. I have to jog on a treadmill because it's got extra cushioning with special shoes and shit. I really took that do one uncomfortable thing every day, and I started just multiplying that. Man, my days are major packed. I'm up at like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning every
I ain't gonna lie, I did started jogging too, and then I went straight to the bicycle because that shit, like, I was in pain when I started doing that. I might just get back on because he's talking about it like
I
that.
get a lot of work done first thing in the morning before the kids are awake. Once the both of them are awake, and then Jasmine and the dog, it's really hard to focus on me. So I realized that the only time to get me time in was to change my sleep schedule, which meant going to bed really early and waking up super early. But it's like now I've got all this time. My days are long, man. I'm running usually off 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which sounds crazy, but ultimately I'm good off 4 or 5 hours. I've read some stuff that says that could be from the daily meditation. I don't know, it's like my body is working amazing.
Yeah, I get how you feel. He's just like, damn.
The power just glitched in the house. Did you hear that? That's weird. Oh, there it goes
Power
again.
outage.
Okay, that kind of stuff trips me out a little bit. Talking about how I'm doing good, and the house is like, it's either calling me out or it's being like, yeah, this is a sign that you're doing well. If it's a sign I'm doing well, then a large part of me doesn't believe it, because I feel like I'm kind of bullshitting you guys right now, because there's so much more I need to do.
Nah, you're not bullshitting. Like, I do the same shit, and you're saying exactly how I feel sometimes.
It really is. And that's my next point.
Are you still microdosing?
Admittedly, I'm microdosing less now. It was like 5+ times a week sometimes, and now I may be doing 2 or 3, which I also find interesting, because as my life started getting in order, I needed it less and less, which also goes to show that it's not like other drugs. I feel like once you do get your shit sorted, you probably don't even need it. But I'm still kind of sorting my shit out. On top of all that, the next thing that I did was realize that when I was a child, I was extremely creative. I used to have so many hobbies and things I enjoyed doing, like painting, sculpting, animating, writing stories. I would spend each day, it almost sounds like a true ADHD kid, just hopping from one activity to the next. I love video games. I love anime. I had the idea that I needed to reconnect with my child self, and this idea was birthed from all of the healing, and I took it in a very literal sense. So even though I actually didn't feel like it at all, I started taking up Warhammer, painting it right now. I bought a whole shit ton of it, and I have this set of goals that I write down every day in a book first thing in the morning, and I put a list of them in a box, and I check off each goal every day just to show you guys that I have to make it a goal, because I don't necessarily want to do it, is to paint. So I'll put down paint, and then because I've gotten proficient in the meditation, I can now do things that I don't necessarily want to do, and I sit down and I started painting Warhammer, and I found that it's difficult to get going. Yes, the starting is the hardest, and I still struggle with that, but once I would get started, I would actually enjoy it. And it was crazy. It's like, in order to gain my lost creativity back, why don't I just do creative things? You can wait forever for inspiration, a lightning bolt that never strikes. Instead,
you just gotta do it.
Force yourself through that beginning discomfort. And I would never have had the ability to take that first push had it not been for the microdosing and meditation shit. But to be
but that's without answer. Like, if you want to try and do something, you just gotta start doing it. You can't just be like, nah, I'm gonna wait this day, or I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. I don't have it. Nigga, you gotta do it.
Totally clear. Like, it's a huge list of stuff that I'm doing. If you're trying to heal some depression or heal from some drug addiction, you don't want to tackle that giant list all at once. Just start with one thing. My one thing was 10 minutes of meditation, which led to me feeling like I was able to microdose. Do I believe that everybody should do this? And that's a resounding no. I had to combine a bunch of different practices to get benefits from this. It's not for everybody. There's a lot of people who shouldn't ever touch this. And I would say those are people who are just not ready to face their anxieties. Because if there's one thing that a microdose can do, it can make you feel fucking anxious. Like, uncomfortable, scared, and don't decide to try it unless you fully understand all the risks that are involved. Which is why I need to make, as this note here says, my microdose guide. I don't want to talk about all the dangers now because this video is long enough. But it's not for everybody. And I'm definitely not making this video to suggest that if there's stuff you're going through, like depression, that you should microdose to heal it. Because that's not what I'm saying, and that's not what I'm doing. In fact, I barely even microdose at this point.
You still do it. It's not.
Thankfully, where I live, they don't give a shit about mushrooms. Nobody cares here. Delicious. Depending on where you live, it might not be as easy for you, and there are legal alternatives. For instance, in the States, mescaline-containing cacti is legal, so there are things that you could get legally that you could start microdosing on. I don't want to make this a list where I recommend things for people to use, because that's up to you. Use your own discretion, and I don't want to advise anyone trips, period. This is my journey. Don't follow my footsteps, and don't think if something worked for me that's going to work for you, because we all have unique brains, and we're all at unique places in our lives. Yeah, I'm not going to recommend anything, but if you do your research, there is stuff you could figure out. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I hope you're as excited as I am for what is to come. Huge thank you to everyone who's supporting us on Patreon. Past few years have been tough, so it might seem like my channel is going to die a little bit, and that's because I've been in recovery. It's hard to get creative and get excited about making videos when you're trying to recover. So I would just ask that you give me some time. I am back at it now, but it might be...
If you made it to the end of the video, you obviously like the video, so you obviously gotta subscribe. Hit the subscribe button.